Dahu for a Dahu Dores. Now we're killing people in the street. Hello and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell.
And this is a podcast that is going out with a bang this week. How are you, my love?
So ready to not work on this show for just about 2 months.
Yeah.
Because we are recording this episode. We're recording this episode 2 weeks before it hits the main feed, in a full week before it hits the patrons. We are putting this show to bed for 2024. It has been a phenomenal year. If my memory serves, this will be episode 86.
Yes, it will.
And if memory serves me further, Initiation by Alethea Faust was episode 44.
I don't recall.
So 42 mainline episodes, a bunch of author profiles, including an interview with Bryn Weaver at Sinful Signings.
Yep.
Latrexa Nova, Sam Moran, Bjorn White, just all. I mean, we had such a great year, and
we did.
And I know I'm leaving names out, but these were just the first ones that popped to my head. It was such a phenomenal year. Next year we're going to not one but two cons instead of the one. We've got big plans for next year as well, but I'm ready for this year to be done.
Yeah.
How about what are your thoughts on?
This year has been great. For Cheap Smut, this year has been amazing, and I have had so much fun, and I am so ready to take a break because nobody can do their job forever. I need to take a break.
Yeah, no, 100%. I was really we finished recording last week's episode, Accidentally Under Your Tree,
yes,
by Marty V, and almost immediately you were like reading this week's book. I cannot remember the last time I saw you this motivated to do anything. It was, you were like, let's fucking go.
Okay, well, part of that is this book was brought to me by Katie Hurd.
Okay.
Or she mentioned it. I knew about it a little bit.
Is this the one you're in the...
Yes.
Okay.
But then she mentioned that Cassie and Jenny are doing a live thing on the 23rd for this as well. And so I was like, would they be mad if I also read this book because it sounds amazing? And she said, no, absolutely not. In fact, do you want to be in a group chat with them and we can all talk about it? And so I got their numbers on the back end, which was great because now I have their phone numbers. But I dove right into the book because they were already reading it.
Oh, you were trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jenny, it was at like 76% when I
damn.
downloaded the book, and she reads quickly, but also had the time in her schedule to do it. We all read the book. It's fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't a competition. We had a great time reading it, and just like at several points in the group text, I was like, I can't wait to tell Carl about this. I can't wait to tell Carl all about this. This is insane.
But what you didn't know, actually, it was a competition, and you did not win. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, I lost. I for sure lost. Yeah. If it was a competition, the only thing I won was probably best GIF usage. If I had to guess, I don't know. But I definitely didn't win fastest reader. And I'm okay with that.
That's all right. You've always been, you like to take your time.
I do.
When you read.
I do. I am one of those, I have to read every single word on the page because the author put every single word there. So they all deserve to be read. I can't like speed through it.
I don't give authors that much credit.
I know you don't. I know.
I'm an assimilator, or an aggregator. I'm like, oh, okay, broad strokes.
Yep. Let's just pick this up a little bit.
Yep. Here we go.
I can't do that. Anyway, so that was the reason why I dove in head first with this, was because I was in it to win it with 3 other people.
Yeah.
And I needed to get started because they already were like, oh my God. And I was like, I need to know.
Well, we know that at least 3 people are going to be interested in this episode
because
they've already read the book. But for those people who might have just started the episode and not saw the episode title, what are we reading this week?
This week I read Mean One by Absinthe.
That's right. Yeah.
Cynthe, Cynthe.
You're a mean one.
That's him. So this book is available for 99 cents or through Kindle Unlimited, $6.99 for an Amazon paperback, or $12.99 for a signed copy through the author's website, which is authorcherbert.com. Currently, everything on the website is available at a discount because they are moving to a new website on January 1st, sinfulbooks.com, CYNFUL books.com. So Absinthe also writes as C. Herbert, hence the alternate website name. Sherbert, right? And C. Herbert also has a co-write with beloved dark romance author DJ Krimmer called Dollface, which is, it's described as an Oogie Boogie meets Coraline romance. Sign me the fuck up. That sounds amazing.
I was gonna say, that's the most millennial coded.
I know, right? I know, right? All of that, like, you know, existential horror for our generation.
Yeah.
But make it sex. Let's do it. Absolutely. So for this book, Mean One by Absinthe, let's jump right into the triple T's. I just copied this right from the book.
Okay.
But I want you to know, I did not read this before I started the book. I just went in blind. And that's not because I forgot or because I don't always read trigger warning lists. It's because when Kindle launches a book, it launches on page 1 of the action. Yep. So I just started the prologue and dove right in. So I went back to copy these for my notes. I laughed out loud seeing it all just in like bald-faced English. I laughed hysterically because this is a very thorough list, and we appreciate a thorough list, especially when we're dealing with an erotic horror, which is what this book is. But let's just do it. Reader caution: this book contains the following triggers, in alphabetical order, by the way: abuse, emotional, physical, and mental; anxiety, mention of arson, biting, blood play, breath play, bullying, childhood trauma, physical and mental; consumption of blood, death of a loved one, detailed sexual scenes, dismemberment, domestic abuse, drinking, drugs, dubious consent, desecration of a corpse, decapitation, erotic asphyxiation, gagging, gore, human slaughter, light BDSM, manipulation, masochism, masturbation, mild voyeurism, misogyny, monster sex, murder, mutilation of a corpse, obsession, pegging, public teasing, public sex, public abuse, physical abuse, possessiveness, profanity, PTSD, sadism, slut shaming, sexual objectification, sexual manipulation, sex on/near a dead body, sex work, sodomy, stalking, torture, trauma, unhealthy emotional attachment, unprotected sex, violence, and voyeurism.
I am so glad that you read all of that, because if the BDSM had been anything more than light, I was fucking out of here. That's where I draw the line. Anything beyond light BDSM, I'm fucking out. Everything else you said barely fazed me.
In this instance, what they mean is light restraint, use of restraints, but just light BDSM, and then full-on masochism further down the list.
It's appropriate. I am wearing my BDSM.
Are you?
Shirt.
Yes, I love that shirt.
My BDSM shirt.
Yeah. Bench, deadlift, squat, military press.
Correct. That's right. It's been spotted in a couple of TikToks as well.
Yeah. It's beloved.
Yep.
So anyway, that is the triggers list from the book. And just to be blatantly clear, this is a Grinch reimagining, but much, much darker.
And probably a little bit hornier.
Way hornier.
I mean, I know people have probably been rule 34ing the Grinch for decades now, but
yeah. Yeah, they must have been, because at some point it made its way into the porn. I knew it was going to make its way to the books, but this has been a banner year for Grinch porn, by the way. There's like 4 books that came out this year that were Grinch porn. Sabrina Cross wrote one too. Mm-hmm. I had to choose which Grinch porn to do.
Have we seen any Winnie the Pooh porn since Winnie hit the public domain?
Actually, no.
I know there was a horror movie.
Yeah, there were 2.
Well, there's 2. Well, there was a sequel. Well, there was one, and there's a sequel to it. But
Blood and Honey.
Yeah, that's the one. But get on that, smut authors. Anyway, let's get after
Smutty
it.
Tigger?
Yeah, right?
Come on now. Anyway, so just to get it out of the way, because I don't have a clean way to put it in and it's going to get a laugh. The town is called Whoreville. All the whores down in Whoreville.
This is very John Waters coded.
And because it's not said in the book, but because I know that Whoville is situated at the base of Mount Crumpet, I am going to assume that Whoreville is situated at the base of Mount Humpit.
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Yeah? Okay, let's do that. So, prologue, let's begin. The Grouch, our MMC, he's the Grinch, you get it, wakes up from a nightmare. In that nightmare, we see a flashback of the night that his adolescent bully, whose name is Gustafer Mayhew, brutally beat him and then ran him out of town. And his childhood sweetheart, May Martha, stood on and watched in horror. And then when she thought that he was going to die, she told Gustafer, no, he means nothing, nothing at all. And he wakes up in a cold sweat with her voice still ringing in his head. He means nothing. So dramatic. So he wakes up in a cold sweat, and in doing so, he has woken up Max. Max is petite, wild-haired. She's got big curly brown hair. She's got wild, crazy eyes and freckles and a completely psychotic personality. Max was this weirdo little kid who always idolized the Grouch, which is not his real name, by the way, but that's what everybody calls him. She calls him the Meanie or her Meanie. But she always idolized the Grouch, and when he left town, she followed him. And I guess nobody cared that she disappeared. And
wait, come back.
Yeah. He tried to run her off for a while, but she just wouldn't leave him alone. So as he was like setting up base in an abandoned quarry in the caves of Mount Humpit, he eventually kind of grew to like her. And now, in the intervening years, she has grown up from this like gangly, weird kid to a full-blown woman who would do literally anything to make the Grouch happy. Like I said, she calls him the Meanie, and she has like this singular devotion to him, which is creepy. All the way to the core creepy. This is not a healthy relationship. All of the relationships in this book are like unpleasant at best. Like it always feels like personalities are just rubbing up against each other like sandpaper. It's awful. I'm just it's dark stuff. Anyway, so he has awoken up from this nightmare, and yeah, their relationship is super toxic and stuff, but she knows how to make him forget that nightmare, and so she jacks him off.
Of course.
We never really talk about his dick in great detail, but it is referred to as a furry green monster that grows 3 sizes. And while the 3 sizes joke is funny, the fact that it has fur is a crime.
It's upsetting.
It's a crime. Why? You can't put that anywhere.
No.
It's going to get wet, musty, dirty. I hate it.
He has a very rigorous shampooing and conditioning program.
Seriously, he's got to have some kind of like whole body hair care system that he does.
But he has to pay like the Grouch tax because like they charge him extra for like dick shampoo.
Oh,
it's the same stuff he uses on his head, but because it says Grouch dick shampoo, he's like, well, I got to pay the extra.
Yeah, it's extra for sure.
It has extra parabens. I don't know.
Parabens.
I know it's the second. Whenever I think of shampoo, I just know that there are people who think that parabens and shampoo and soaps are bad.
Oh yeah,
and it's just a fun word to say.
Yeah, silicones too.
Yeah,
also bad. Anyway, so she jacks him off his furry green dick.
Which
that's where we were in this conversation.
Quick aside. I think that's the fastest in an episode for sure that we've
gotten to the and she jacks him off. Yep, I mean probably close to it.
It's land speed record for ejaculate.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so as he's about to come, she like leans into this and encourages him to let it go. His mind is still on May Martha, and she knows this because she knows everything about this guy. So she tells him to forget her. He doesn't need May, but as soon as the name starts falling out of her mouth, He pushes her off of him. He is furious. Max does not get to say her name. Nobody gets to say her name. He stands up and he's all pouty about it, and she tries to seduce him back into bed to like earn his forgiveness, and he does eventually take that forgiveness in the form of fucking her mouth like brutally. I know, man. Until he comes down her throat. But she is pleased as punch about the whole thing. She's licking her lips and smiling up at him. This is not healthy.
Picking fur out of her teeth.
Swear to God. Choking on a hairball.
Right? Seriously.
So they hear noise coming from outside of the caves after all of that finishes up.
It's people out there peeking in there going,
right,
can you believe?
The fuck?
It's all over his dick.
Is it off his butthole too? So while she is, they hear voices coming from outside the mouth of the cave, and so he goes to investigate. And while he's wandering around the woods, he steps on like a random piece of, he just thinks it's a piece of wood, but when he picks it up, it's a sign, and it says, "Beware, here lives the abomination, a green monster no one wanted, the Grouch." And he is furious. He snaps the thing in half. He goes off into the woods seeking out whatever voices, and he is much more animal than any other kind of Grinch you might think of. He's on all fours. He's got claws. He's snarling. He's got fangs. He's a monster in this particular world. He eventually finds the people that he was originally looking for. It's just a couple, and they're arguing about whether or not they should be out here at all. The woman says that the Grouch is a legend, that Gus is full of shit. Nobody believes that the Grouch ever even existed, and if he did, he's long gone. Hearing that the town thinks of him as a monster, and that this guy has come out here looking for him as like an oddity. They're like seeking the Grinch. Isn't that fun? That is enough for him, and he attacks them full speed. He jumps on the dude and mauls him to death and rips his throat out with his teeth. And the woman is like standing there in shock, and he turns to attack her. She starts to back away and run, but as soon as she turns around, she is slapped in the face with the back end of a shovel, because Max has followed them out here, and Max beats the woman to, like, she bashes her head in with a shovel until there is nothing left.
Jesus Christ.
I swear to God. And she asks Hermine what these people were doing here, and he says it seems that Gus has been running his mouth. He's been telling people where to find me, and they're coming to find me like some kind of scary little creature in the woods. I think it's time to remind them that I am a monster. And that is the end of the prologue. We go into chapter 1, and it is from May Martha's perspective. So May Martha has long brown hair, green eyes, a very fair complexion. She has that like untouchable perfection kind of beauty. She's gorgeous. And she is the childhood sweetheart of the Grouch. And she is the all-around sad tale of what happens when like a powerful and abusive man is allowed to dominate a woman unchecked. Because May Martha is a sex worker. She works out of a brothel on the seedy end of Horville, and we meet her just as Gus Mayhew is finishing up his probably sweaty, unpleasant business on top of her. He rolls off of her and he goes to get dressed, and he throws a stack of cash on her nightstand, and it's not as much as usual. And he says, well, next time try to show a little more enthusiasm.
Well, next time, try not to be such a lousy lay.
Yeah, seriously. It's so this is the reality of the situation for May Martha, is that because she refuses to just do what Gus wants, she has chosen sex work as her method of making money, but it also gives Gus access to her whenever she wants, or whenever he wants. As he leaves, he tells her that deep down, she knows that this is more than just business. No, it's not. No, it's not, Gus. It's not. Your Jedi mind tricks don't work. You're gross. You're icky. Anyway, so that awful moment is cut short by screams coming from outside, and Gus runs out blowing his whistle and commanding the attention of the crowd because he is the chief of police. Of course he fucking is. Once the crowd clears away, they find the bodies of the couple that the Grouch and Max murdered in the woods, along with a note that reads, Did you think I was gone? Say hello to Gus for me, May Martha. I'm coming for you. So she goes into shock reading that note, and Gus thinks that this is fear. So he sends her back up to her room where she can be safe. But she wanted to go back to her room anyway because she is having flashbacks to that horrible night, however long ago that it was. She starts digging through the house or the room until she eventually finds this old memento box that she keeps under her bed. She opens it. She looks inside and she starts crying and apologizing. We don't know what's inside, but it's dramatic. Next thing we get is Max skipping her way back to her meanie after completing the body drop and watching as she was watching to make sure that Gus saw what needed to be seen. In the alley where she finds him, he like grabs her up and tells her that she was so wicked and perfect and wonderful, and he just has to fuck her right now. And so they have this incredibly rough sex in this alley. And she is feeling vindicated in her love for him. She's getting all of this praise, and she's high on the bloodlust of it all, and like the hard sex is really doing it for her. And when they finish, and he says he left a note for May Martha in the dead man's pocket, she isn't as mad as she would normally be because she just had this really lovely night of murder and mayhem and sex in the alley.
Right.
And then he says that he needs her to help cover their tracks. He needs her.
Yeah.
That's all she needs to hear. And they leave. The next morning, the Grouch wakes up to find that Max isn't there, and he kind of pouts about it for a little while. And when she finally does come skipping back in, he's like, I don't want to talk to you. But she brought him a peace offering. He's on the front page of the paper. She brought him a copy of the town paper, and he is happy about that at first until he starts reading the article, and he finds that it's mostly just an interview with his mother, who disavows him on behalf of herself and her late wife and vows to seek justice for all of the people that her horrible son has killed. And he is, devastated by that. Max offers to kill his mom for him. And he's like, no, don't, no. God, no, she's an old lady. She's on death's door anyway.
Settle down.
But he thinks maybe it's time to pay a little visit to the newspaper man. So they go to the printing room in the Horville Herald at the dead of night, and they ambush the night editor. This is the obligatory, you're the, say it, the Grouch, that scene.
Yeah.
That's where that happened.
Okay.
They scare this old man into telling them who wrote the article about the Grouch and his mother.
Wasn't in the byline?
There was no byline, apparently. That's what I said. There was no byline. So they scare him into telling them that it was written by a woman named Cynthe, and then they crush him. No. Then they disembowel him and use his blood to write a message to Cynthe on the walls.
It's very important to get it exactly right, how they murder them.
Yes. No, it is important. It is important to know exactly what brutal death happened next.
No, I'm thinking of the other guy that they ran over with a snowmobile. That's
no, there wasn't one of those, but that would have been fun. Anyway, so May Martha learns about the murder of the newspaper guy when Gus comes bursting into her rooms to talk to her about it. I mean, he's obviously there to seek comfort, but she does not care to give comfort to this guy. So instead she drugs him, which is something that she does pretty regularly to make him fall asleep. So she just doesn't have to deal with him.
Smart.
Yeah. And as soon as he is unconscious, she goes to visit her friend Cynthe, who, yes, does write for the Horville Herald, but newspaper is dead and those are paid by the article. She also manages a bar. So May Martha goes to the bar to talk to Cynthe. They have a chat. She warns Cynthe about the threat from the Grouch, and then they talk about his return to Horville. May Martha says that she was there in the crowd when the bodies were first dumped, and she saw his eyes in the dark. But she also heard a laugh that was really familiar, and it felt like it was from her childhood, and it brings to mind crazed eyes and brown curls. And that's when they realize that Max is with the Grouch. Max was apparently Cindy's favorite bullying target when they were children. And she was this weirdo little kid that nobody noticed when she left. Nobody noticed when she left town. Nobody cared. But Cynthe seems to remember that Max and the Grouch disappeared probably around the same time.
You think your favorite bullying target disappears.
That's what I said. But what do you mean the girl you like to hate on the most suddenly disappeared? You had to pick a new hate hard on? Ugh.
You know what? You know what I miss? I haven't pantsed Max in like a week.
Ugh.
The fuck? Where is she?
You're the worst bully ever. Anyway, so that's when these two realize that Max and the Grouch are together, and that probably makes everything a lot more dangerous, because even back then Max was weird and liked to play with dead things, and she was odd.
You're a loose cannon at 12,
right?
Yeah, your future's dim.
Yeah, right. So we also get some vibes from this conversation that we kind of need to know. So Whoreville is like all seedy underbelly. Everything there is bad, basically. But so May Martha is particularly infamous. They don't really say why, but at one point, Cynthe does say, if I had the infamous May Martha behind my bar, I would make more money. So she's known around town for something. I don't know what that is, but the whole vibe of this place is like if Sin City were covered in twinkle lights. It's kind of horrible.
Yeah.
All the time. It's great. I love it, but it's two fully dichotomous feelings. Dichotomous, is that a word?
Diametrically
opposed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. There's two diametrically opposed things happening at once right now. Fahu fore dahu dores. Now we're killing people in the street. It's wild. I love it. Sorry for singing to you. Anyway.
You should be. How dare you?
That's particularly for Gwen. I know she hates it when people sing. Anyway, so back at the quarry, Max has started decorating for Christmas because it's her favorite time of year, and the Grouch is letting her, even though he hates it all, because it makes her happy to put up the tree and stuff. So as he is dragging a tree into the cave for her, she has returned from a trip to town with news. She has found Cynthe working at a bar, and she was talking with May Martha. And again, just the mention of May Martha is enough to enrage him. She is not allowed to talk about her at all.
But I saw her.
Swear to God, man. Just don't talk about her ever. So he grabs her up by the throat, and things get ugly. He is holding her in midair. She's a very small person, and he is a big monster. They are having a verbal fight as she is slowly losing her ability to breathe. So the whole time Max is challenging him, saying that even as he is slamming her against the wall of the cave, she's like, I know you love me. I know that you do. Whether you want to admit it or not, you do. He says, no, he doesn't. She says, you can't lie to me. You can lie to yourself, but you can't lie to me. He then reveals he pulls back some of his fur on his chest to reveal a heart that is tattooed right over his heart. And he says, my heart already belongs to someone else. She counters that if that is true, then it should be really easy for him to kill her right now, because if he doesn't love her, she doesn't want to live. So go ahead. Do it. You already got me by the throat. All you have to do is snap my neck. But you can't, because I know you love me. You actually love me. And he ends up letting her go, and he turns to leave, saying that she is wrong. And she stomps her little foot and she says, don't you walk away from me. And she picks up a string of lights from her pile of decorations, and she lassos him around the neck and pulls him down onto his knees, and then kicks him down onto his back on the ground. And she's standing over his shoulders, and she's making this little speech about how he can say whatever he wants, but she knows that he needs her. And then he whacks her on the back of the knees until she falls down onto his face, and she goes for a Grinch face ride.
I knew I could see it.
Yep.
I'm still glad
we knew
happened.
It was coming. Yeah, I know. So this whole sequence is like a power struggle. Neither one of them is willing to accept submission, but Max does kind of have the upper hand the whole time because she's got a literal weapon around his neck. So round one ends when she rides him. Excellent descriptions of Grouch whining. Loved that. And then somewhere in all of that, she has threatened him with a good time, and they roll. He's like, why don't we do what you threatened to do? And they roll right into a pegging scene. So
whoa.
I know, right? Max pegs her meanie with a candy cane striped dildo. Of course. Excellent descriptions of Grinch whimpering. I loved this. And then after he has been thoroughly fucked, he is still not done. So then he flips them over and fucks her ass with the dildo while he fucks her pussy. Holy shit, y'all. This was insane.
I don't remember.
This was chapter 4.
I don't remember any of this in the Jim Carrey movie.
All of chapter 4. Just holy moly. So the following night, Max goes out to confront May Martha in an alley, and they have a little chat about the grouch. Max has an obviously very deeply seated hatred for May Martha. She blames her for the grouch not being able to love her the way that she wants. May Martha shows her chest tattoo and says, "He will never love you because I already have his heart." So she and the grouch have matching heart tattoos.
Okay, so there's some connection there.
Yes. All of this was revealed very slowly, and I thought it was great. In real time, it was super dark and depressing, but I loved it. So in opening her coat to show that tattoo, she has also shown her outfit to Max, and Max starts laughing because it's very obvious now that May Martha is a sex worker, and oh, how the mighty have fallen. The pretty princess on top of the hill has to, gets paid to get fucked now. What would the grouch say if he found out about that? And that's when May Martha realizes that Max is fully in love with the grouch, and she is left sitting there like fully puzzled by this insane woman. And several moments later, she realizes that just a few feet beyond where Max was originally standing is the dismembered corpse of Cynthe. So she killed her in that alley, and they had that whole conversation, and she didn't know the body was there until it was too late.
Hate when that happens.
I know. Back in the quarry, Max comes home to announce that she killed Cynthe, and also that she saw May Martha again. And Meanie is immediately concerned that Max did something horrible to May Martha this time. Out of jealousy or just pure...
What makes you think that?
Right? Or just like pure psychosis. He's not sure. But anyway, so she goes running off into the tunnels of the quarry, telling him that she'll have to catch her. And he chases her through the tunnels, and he's like begging her to tell him anything. Just tell me you didn't hurt her. Tell me what you did. And she's just giving these little bits of information, just enough to keep him going, until eventually he finds her in like an underground hot spring. This is where they bathe, and she is bathing a bunch of blood off of her body, and he's like, "Oh God, what did you do?" And she says, "No, this is Cindy's. May Martha is fine. Don't be such a meanie. Jesus, why don't you come in the water with me?" And so they eventually end up having sex in the water.
Oh, no.
I know.
No.
I know.
All that fur.
I know. It's awful.
Oh.
I know. It's so bad. And it's...
I hope they keep that pond. I hope they skim it.
I don't even know, like, how do you brush it? Do you brush it?
He's got to have like a full body hair blower.
I do.
Or hair dryer.
I don't know, but it feels, ugh. Like, I just keep thinking like he's got mats in his armpits or something. And just, it's awful. All the fur. Anyway, so... It's not awful for them, but so they do end up having sex. And at this point, he is breaking a little bit on the inside, and she is finding the cracks and seating herself in further and further each time. I'm at this point, I'm telling you, he is chemically addicted to this woman. Mm-hmm. Every time something even remotely upsetting happens, she has sex with him. So she has become his literal chemical addiction.
Yeah.
It's quite scary.
Some Pavlovian pussy right
Seriously.
there.
Yeah. So the next day, Gus visits May Martha, and he proposes to her. And she's like, no.
LOL, no.
And he gets violent. And he says he's been waiting for her for far too long. He's played all of her stupid games, but it's time for her to give it up and come and be his wife now. And he will have her whether she wants it or not. He will buy her like the whore she is if he has to. And he like punches her or something and leaves.
Not a great first step.
It's not. But you know what? No, I don't have anything. I have no silver linings. There's no goodness here. I'm sorry. There's nothing.
Forget it, May. It's Whoreville.
Pretty much. So after Gus leaves, she pulls that memento box back out from under her bed, and she cries and she begs for forgiveness or death. Like, holy shit. The next day, the Grouch is out in the woods chopping firewood when he comes across a couple just having sex out there. He watches them and then he starts jacking off from his vantage behind a tree. And then he feels a presence behind him. It's Max, because the bitch followed him. Of course she did. And so she finishes for him. She's like, just enjoy this. This is what I'm here to help you. Wow. I know. After that, they decide to get extra crazy and they axe murder that couple. And they chop them up into pieces, and then they have sex again. But as Max is riding him next to a pile of dead body parts, by the way, she is saying over and over that she loves him. She's looking at him in his eyes and saying that she loves him, and he won't say it back. And she keeps saying that she knows that he does, whether he realizes it or not. And as he gets closer and closer to coming, the dam breaks and he whimpers that he does. He doesn't say, I love you, but he's just like a whimpering mess. I do, I do, I do.
Yeah.
In the afterglow, as they are looting that dead couple's clothes, I know, they find an invitation for a party, a Christmas Eve engagement party for Gustafer Mayhew and May Martha.
I need to know, though, because now I'm fascinated and I'm not going to stop thinking about this. They know how close they were to a dead body.
Oh, hell yeah.
I wonder, what is the closest I've ever been to someone who was dead mid-coitus?
Oh, God.
And I don't mean, obviously, like it would have to be within, like, blocks or miles.
Yeah, well, yeah, it would definitely have to be within, like... some extremely far distance away from me. Oh, God.
Right, but I mean, for the last 16 years, it's been you and me.
Yeah.
I wonder, in the last 16 years, what's the closest I've been in proximity, in flagrante, to a person who was no longer with us?
See, but at the same time, you are asking how close was I? Because by asking how close you are tacitly asking how close I was. And I don't want to know.
I'm sure it wasn't close.
I don't want to know. But this is like, okay. So if you are a certain kind of weirdo white girl, you love the movie Amelie. I am one of them. And in the beginning of the movie, they talk about one of the strange things about her, which is that she likes to she likes to just let her mind wander to weird questions. Like, how many couples in Paris are having an orgasm at this very second? And it's 13 or something. And that's like the fucked up version of that.
It is. That's my Amelie.
Your
That's
Amelie.
My Amelie moment.
How many couples are having an orgasm right now? No. Carl wants to know how close he was to a dead body while he was coming.
That wasn't in a place where a dead body should be, like a funeral home or a hospital. This
is going off the rails. So it's an invitation to May Martha and Gus's engagement party on Christmas Eve. And the Grouch loses his shit and says that he wants to attend this party, but in a violent way. And
he says it violently, or he wants to attend it violently?
No, he wants to attend it violently.
Okay.
And Max initially says no, because he only wants to go to see his ex anyway. And he says, no, you're right. I do want to see her, but I think it's time to end this. And she eventually agrees, but only if she is allowed to kill whoever she wants, bring back whatever she wants, and he wears a Santa suit. From the edge of the crowd on Christmas Eve, they watch Gus and May Martha get engaged in a big public display. Though if you have fucking eyeballs, you would know that she was not there of her own free will. Anyway, as the festivities get underway, the Grouch goes to leave. He's too hurt. He's pissed. He thinks that Gus has won. By getting engaged with May Martha, Gus has won. And he's too broken to continue now. But Max stops him and gives him a little pep talk and convinces him, let's give him hell then. If they broke you, let's break them. And they wait around until the party kind of dies down and Gus and May Martha leave. Max tells Hermione that they are going to the bar and he is going to go after them and she is going to stay behind and cause mayhem in town square as a distraction. What actually happened is she lied about where May, Martha, and Gus were going to get the meanie out of the way so she could go and kill them herself. So she goes to May Martha's room at the brothel and waits outside until Gus leaves, and then she sneaks in, and she and May Martha have a fight. Max has a knife, but May Martha has size on her side because Max is very small. Eventually, though, Max gets May Martha onto her back. She has a knife to her throat, and she's given her little villain speech about how she needs to do this because May has poisoned the Grouch and killing her will make room in his heart for Max. And May actually starts laughing at her. She says, okay, do it. Please. I do not want to be alive anymore. But also, you should know that killing me is not going to fix him.
Oh.
He's never going to love you. And you will never have his heart. Max then goes to make the killing blow, but May Martha has distracted her for just long enough. Gus is back banging on the door. He forgot something. So Max headbutts May Martha and dives out the window and leaves. The Grouch eventually tracks her down in town and gets her to admit that she lied and that she knows where to find May Martha. For the first time in their relationship, she is actually afraid of him. She thinks he's going to hurt her for lying to him, but instead he tells her to go home and that he will see her soon. As he is leaving, she is screaming at his back don't leave me. I love you. She doesn't love you. I need you. Please love me back. And he turns and he whispers to her, until her heart is in my hands, I cannot love you. He goes to the brothel and he finds May Martha and Gus in her room, but they have come to blows at this point. They're arguing about the past, about fault, about someone who died, whose fault it was that she died. At first, Gus has the upper hand and he strangles her, telling her that it's all her fault for toying with the monster's heart, that she is the one who killed the woman. May then grabs a knife out of her nightstand and stabs him in the gut, guts him, and then wraps a scarf around his neck and ties him to the bedpost in such a way as to slowly strangle him so that he can't talk anymore because she is sick of hearing his voice. And she tells him that it's his fault. He is the monster. He killed that woman. And her only regret is that she will never be able to tell the Grouch the truth. And that's when the Grouch opens the window to announce his presence. And she exclaims, Crispin.
Okay.
His government name is Crispin. First thing we do is behead Gus.
Gotta.
Done and dusted.
Yep.
Job done. The next thing we do is have a confrontation with May Martha about the truth. You said you wanted to tell me the truth. Now's your chance to tell me the truth. He gives her one last chance because he says they snuck around for years in secret. They made plans to leave Horville together. She said that she loved him. He gave her his heart. And then when shit hit the fan, May let her die, whoever that is, and abandoned him, proving to him that she never loved him in the first place. And he goes to swing the axe, and she is begging for a chance to explain. And we finally get the whole story of what happened. So the night that Crispin and Max ran away, May Martha knew that Gus was planning to do something horrible and to blame Crispin for it. He did this completely out of bigotry. He was trying to turn the town against the guy that he thought was a freak. Because she knew that Gus was planning something, May Martha convinced Crispin to run away together that night. She didn't know that what Gus was planning was burning down Crispin's house. And she did not know that Crispin's mom was going to be inside and that they wouldn't be able to save her. So that's the full story. His mom died in that fire. And the one mom that he has left blames him for it because she thinks he said it. By the time they got back to the burning house that night, Crispin tried to go inside to save his mom, but Gus and his cronies were already there and they beat the absolute shit out of him. And that is where we jump back to the prologue.
Yeah.
She called him nothing and he left and never came back. That's the whole story of the night that drove him out of town. It is truly horrific. She then reaches under the bed and gives him that memento box, and inside it is an urn dedicated and inscribed to his mother. She says that she found the remains by herself because no one else was willing to go through the rubble. And she put her in an urn because she knew that he didn't like the idea of his mom being in the ground. And she saved it because she hoped that he would come back, but he never did. Now he has, and he knows the truth, and he can kill her if he wants to. And he collapses and he starts to cry. And he finally believes that she wasn't involved in any of the horrible things that happened to him. They hug, they sob, he forgives her. And then all of that emotion and lust and love comes like rushing back all at once. And they're kissing and they're fucking and they're declaring their love and passion in a way that is very truly different from any other sex that happened in this book. Mm-hmm. It is loving, it is passionate, it is aggressive.
It's still furry.
And
damp uncomfortably.
But everybody's so much happier. Mid-thrust, he is like, I wish I could stay in this perfect pussy forever. And she's like, so stay. Just stay. We've been apart for so long. You don't have to leave me. But what about Max? She asks if he loves her. And he says it's not that simple.
She jerks me off a lot when I'm sad. I don't know what to say.
I mean, like, truly, no, he does not love her. But that relationship is so toxic and fucked up, and everything is twisted together in all of these horrific ways. He doesn't know what he feels. The bond is toxic, but Max believes that it's love. And, well, he's her abuser. So, you know. Anyway, it's not pretty. All of it's pretty yucky. Eventually, he says, okay, you know what? Just give me one more night. Give me one more night with Max. Because Christmas Eve is her favorite night of the year. Just let me spend it with her so she can be happy. And I'll tell her in the morning. And then we can be together forever. And she agrees. And he leaves. Of course, Max was listening on this the whole time. She has followed him everywhere that he has gone this entire book. So why wouldn't she be listening in now? From the window, she heard all of that. And as soon as he leaves, she enters and takes care of May Martha.
I was going to say.
Yeah. We then follow Crispin back into his cave to spend the last Christmas Eve with Max, and he is already dreading telling her that they are basically breaking up. But
Max, you could really just take a lot of stress off of him.
I know, right? But so he has his love back, and it is time to go and find happiness. And she will understand that. If she truly loves him, then she will understand that, right? So he goes in and he tries to let her down easy, but she is covered in blood, and she's got the big crazy eyes, and she gives him a present.
Oh boy.
It is a human heart. It's May Martha's heart, of course. He said that he could never truly love Max until May Martha's heart was in his hands. She made that happen for him, and now they can be together forever. And she starts like grabbing at him, climbing on him. She is devoted, and she can't understand why he isn't happier about her solving this problem for them finally. And he realizes she's completely insane.
Yeah.
She could never love anyone. So he grabs for a weapon, finds a shard of broken glass, and stabs her in the back. And she falls to the ground and bleeds out. And as she's bleeding out, he turns and cradles May Martha's heart to his chest, and he is sobbing, and he's saying, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, baby. I am so sorry. And then he hears, I'm sorry too, before something stabs him in the heart.
Jesus Christ.
The end. Then we have an epilogue.
Well, I fucking hope so.
In our epilogue, Max completes her latest project, a beautiful green fur coat. And she wraps herself up in it and snuggles in, and she declares that now they can be together forever. The end.
What in the fuck?
I loved this so much. It was so fucked up.
Jesus.
Look,
now listen, there's sticking your dick in crazy. And then there's Max.
Oh my God. Well, see, the thing about this book that I love the most is that it's exactly what would happen. Really. He abused that poor girl until she was so truly and deeply devoted to him that she committed murder on his behalf. And when he rejected her, she killed him too.
Yeah.
Makes perfect fucking sense. You made a crazy person, and then you got sad when she started acting crazy.
Yeah. No, he's got to bear some level of responsibility for this.
Duh. I mean, like, it's this book. I don't want it to seem like Crispin / the Grouch / the Meanie is a good person or worthy of redemption in any way, or that I feel bad for what happened to him. Because I honestly don't. I really don't. Because he was awful to her for so long. And like, yeah, he found love in May Martha and all of that. But he was so awful to Max the whole time. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
No, it's okay. You were finishing telling the story. I don't know why you felt the need to apologize.
I don't know, because you were just staring at me and it felt like I was rambling.
I was staring at you because it's polite
I know.
to look at people when they're talking to you.
I'm sorry. My ears are up in my shoulders are in my ears now, I feel.
Call me crazy, but effective communication is just something that I'm into. Hey.
What am I into?
For this, I just, if you want to keep it simple, just say I'm into hiatus.
Hiatus, yeah.
But if you want to
Yeah.
say something for real.
For real, I am into the Cheap Smut podcast.
Right? I'm going to link it and everything.
I am into the Cheap Smut podcast. I am proud of this show. I am happy every time we record it. I listen to it every single day almost. I'm so into this show. And I'm happy to be the one who gets to make it with you.
Now, I'm into it too. It's not the thing that I'm into, but I am into it. It's become a tradition when we sit down at the end of the night. We've had our herbal enhancement for the evening, as it were. We've smoked weed because we live in a state where it is legal. Recreational is legal here. And then sometimes, depending on the game that I'm playing, if we're not watching a movie or playing a game together, I will turn the audio off on the game, and I will fire up one of our favorite episodes.
Oh yeah,
and I can understand how somebody hearing this might right now being like, "No, that's fucking cringe." I don't fucking care.
Oh yeah,
because as I go back through like the text logs in my brain, I never asked you, so I don't care.
Oh, fully true.
But no, I am so proud of you making this show and coming up with this idea and then us making it. I'm proud of the work that we do. I am proud, but more than anything, I am proud of this corner of the community that we have found ourselves in, because it's such a wonderful place to be.
Yeah.
You are so much happier, and you have like-minded friends out there. Unfortunately, they're like flung across the country and can't just come over to our house and hang out. But some of them can, and some of them do. And we started making plans to hang out with Gwenny next year, and we're going to meet a bunch of them and see a bunch of them in Baltimore in May and Virginia in July. Yeah, I love this show. I never miss an opportunity.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I never miss an opportunity to tell somebody about this show and how proud I am of it. So, hell yeah, celebrate yourself. Pat yourself on the back.
Done. What are you into, baby?
I am into a movie. It's a movie that I've seen a couple of times. It's a movie that I own, but I haven't watched it in a while. And this one's going to be funny because I'm not linking to anything. And that is, I've been thinking a lot lately about rewatching one of the best movies I've ever seen, One Cut of the Dead.
Oh my God. Ugh, that is a really good movie.
One Cut of the Dead is one of the best movies I've ever seen. I cannot tell you anything about it. And I know a lot of people say, oh, it's best to go in blind. And I'm telling you, do not know anything about this movie, because
know nothing.
If you know anything, the magic of the movie goes away.
Yeah.
It is a zombie movie.
Yep.
But that's all I'm going to tell you. So, but consider this. I've just been thinking a lot about it, and I think about it a lot because it is so clever and ingenious. And it is also, while being a zombie movie, it is also a love letter to art.
Yes.
And to creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is so perfect. So if you have the ability to do so, it's a hard movie it was on Shudder for a while, but if you can find it on like Amazon Prime, or if you have any access like to rent it, or if you are a VPN user and just know how to find this stuff, or if you like sailing the seven seas to get your stuff, I don't care how you do it. Go watch One Cut of the Dead. It is it is tremendous. And on my break from my day job, I will definitely be watching One Cut of the Dead again. It's time to watch it again.
Yes, absolutely. For my non-horror lovers like myself, I can't watch scary movies. I've said it a lot of times. This is a movie I can watch and happily do. So don't avoid it if you don't like horror movies. I understand why you might be hesitant when you first start watching it because it feels like it's going to be a horror movie. It's not. It's worth it. You'll love it.
Oh, good. Well, with that said, we don't have anything
to
talk about.
No, we are all done.
We are all done until for February 10th for the patrons and February 17th for the main line. We will be back. We've got something we've talked about internally that we want to do for the first episode back.
Yes.
But we're not sure if that's going to work out yet. But you can just either way, you can guarantee that we will be back. But let's just say Monday, February 17th, because the vast majority of people who listen to the show listen to it on the main line.
Yep. And if you do want a little bit more of us before the end of the year, you can join Patreon always for just $1, and you can see the Smutco Industries Christmas party.
Yeah. Well,
we will be streaming it live. You can hear it.
I was going to say you're not, but this isn't going to come out until December 30th. So it's well in the past.
Cut my shit then.
Yeah, it's okay. No. But what she is saying is that if you were not a patron as of December 20th, 2024, and you wanted to hear the Smutco Industries company holiday party, I've been calling it Christmas party. I really should be calling it the company holiday party. And you didn't see it when it was live streamed, it is available. It is one of several bonus episodes that you will never get to hear unless you are a Patreon patron.
Yeah.
So you can't.
That's what I meant.
If you're hearing it now and would like to see that or hear it along with several other bonus episodes, we have the Butcher and Blackbird episode. We have the Smutco annual shareholders meeting.
Also, if I am on my bullshit, I might ask you to record a bonus episode to drop in January for Patreon too.
Let's fucking do
around.
It. Yeah, but in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. All of the links are in our link tree, which is down in the show notes. If you would like to send us an email, please do so. cheapsmutpod@gmail.com. Once this episode hits the main line, the top link in our link tree, which is again down in the show notes, will be a link to this book. It is not an affiliate link. We do not get any money for it. We are just trying to help the authors out. If you would like to support us financially for as little as $1 a month, you can do so like these fine folks have. Zach, Zoe Barrett, Emily Purley, Aaron Manak, Miss Chris, Raven, Natasha Bear, Desiree Rodriguez, Local Mind Flayer, Seattle, number 42, Bookworm, Kitsune Inc., Cassie, Cassandra, Brian S., April D. Berry, Leah Legend, Dana Goddard, Gemma, Lady Squishy Buns, Tia Esk, Rob Gatika, Angela McNichols, Katie Hurd, Gwendolyn Harper, Seneca O, and Rebecca K. The music that you have heard for the last 2 seasons, but never again, because coming back in season 3 will be a brand new theme song written and composed and performed by yours truly. But this one is called Nostalgia by Mackay Beats. You can find it along with thousands of other songs free of charge for you to use. And you know what? Fuck it. It's Christmas. You can use it too, Himbo Jones, at the Free Music Archive, freemusicarchive.org.
Listener, remember, if there is a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she will come on this show and explain it to me for your entertainment.
But not until February. Goodbye.